I think we also have to address the white people. That racism that happens.
We don't know racism. If you were born in my era of black people, you ain't even seen racism. You don't even know how to identify it. Black people of today are more affected by the mother and their father than racism. Let's not even bring up racism. Don't look to white people. I tell niggas all the time, look at where your mom and daddy met. Let's start there. Did white people in slavery have any impact on your mama and your daddy when your daddy saw your mama in the club with her ass out? Was the white man in slavery involved when your mama let a nigga she don't know come in up with no rubber? What the white man got to do with that? Most people who talk about God really don't believe. People who talk God talk, I look at them and say they fool. They hiding behind that.
Well, because God,
show me your God. Everything that you want to know about God is in the spirit of who you are. But we looking outside in the book. The spirit don't come out of the scripture reading the book.
But why do, so now, when you do go talk to kids, why do they, what are they hurt about? Are they hurt about the places that they're born into? Are they hurt about, what is it that's hurting them the most?
One of the first things I tell kids is, whatever has happened to you in life, good or bad, is not your fault. Mm-hmm. And I say it twice, and I read the room and watch their body language.
It is crazy what happens.
Children mimic what they see and repeat what they hear. So if you have a question to why are these kids doing this, is it the home life? It's exactly the home life. Where did they learn this from? Children mimic what they see and repeat what they hear. They're sponges. So if you see a violent kid, he comes from a violent household. You see a sexual kid that's already sick, guess what? He's been exposed to sex. Yeah. You see a little girl that's always dressing promiscuous, guess what? Somebody's touching on her.
Yep. I will say this. I think it's two parts when it comes down to that. I do think some kids, they are who they are. Everybody has a spirit. There's certain things that my daughter, the way how she does them, I didn't teach her that. That's the way her thought process is. But at the same time, what me and mommy do around her matters. Because if we start doing things and we start showing her images, or she see vulgar images, or she hear vulgar language, guess what she probably going to do? Exactly what Charleston White is saying. She's going to repeat those things. So it's a two-part process to that. So
just pay attention to the kids' actions, and that'll tell you what's happening, what they see. You have to ask them questions. I don't come. I just come to give them an understanding that you didn't ask to be born. You can't choose who you was born to. You were just born in a situation and some condition that you have no power and control over, but what you choose to do. Yeah, you hurt, but when you know right from wrong, you know it's wrong to hurt somebody else even though you hurt. So that's what you go off for, nigga. Once you learn right from wrong, I don't care what happened to you. It's your fault. You learn right from wrong. Then I started realizing most of us don't know right from wrong because we've been in survival mode.
Yeah.
And from the time they've been in their mother's womb, from the time they daddy ejaculated, from the time you get them as a probation officer, they've been in survival mode. Their mother didn't take prenatal care. They wasn't breastfed. They wasn't going to the doctor. So they've been in survival mode. It's hard to be a human, to think rational, and you're just trying to survive.
That's why I think a lot of us probably shouldn't even be here. A lot of us were had in situations of just wanting to feel good or create something where there was nothing there. You know, back in the day, we used to have children out of a need for village survival. You know, we were trying to propagate the society accordingly to what we actually had when it comes down to resources and to ration out accordingly. But now people just have kids that want to feel good, try and keep somebody there. That's not going to do it, which is why we have a lot of broken children. We got a lot of broken homes because people doing it the wrong way.
Yeah.
So once I started understanding that, but I learned that from the boys' home, growing up in the boys' home. I didn't know kids went to bed hungry until I got locked up. I thought all kids had something to eat in the house. I thought most kids were protected, like me, sheltered. I didn't know some niggas fall asleep on the floor and that's their bed wherever they fall asleep at. I didn't know the only reason my partners was getting perfect attendance in school because this is where the only place they was eating. Yeah. I didn't know that. I didn't know some of the most violent men in our communities and the niggas we scared of. The reason they're so violent because they were molested.
Yeah.
That's why violence is so prevalent among black men, is because they were molested or abused by a mother.
Yeah, it's I see. I've always said that everything comes from something, and you got to go deeper and you got to dig deeper. And there's why when we talk about the separation between white and black, right? I think we also have to address the white people, because that racism that happens, and especially because it's because of lack of education.
We don't know racism. If you were born in the 70s, if you were born in my era of black people, you ain't even seen racism. You don't even know how to identify it. There's a bunch of prejudiced people, but black people of today are more affected by the mother and their father than racism.
Preach.
I agree with you.
So let's not even bring up racism. Don't look to white people. I tell niggas all the time, look at where your mom and daddy met. Let's start there. Did white people in slavery have any impact on your mama and your daddy when your daddy saw your mama in the club with her ass out?
Damn.
Did the white man tell your daddy to go over there and lie to your mama where they f***ed that night? Was the white man in slavery involved when your mama let a nigga she don't know come in her with no rubber? What the white man got to do with that? And when your mama went and told your daddy, it's my baby, and he said, that ain't my baby, what the white man got to do with that? Everything you're affected by in life goes to the root of where you come from, nigga. The roots and the fruit are one and the same.
Facts.
So stop looking at white people. Go look at your mama. You got all your genetics and chromosomes from your mom and daddy. If you freaky, your mom and daddy were freaky.
Yo, I'm gonna be honest, in 2025, anybody still preaching or pointing the finger at the white man effects of slavery, I'm gonna be honest, you probably on goofy time, just being honest. And I understand the history, I understand the past. I understand what has happened. But at the same time, we living in a time to where you not being affected by it. White people ain't got their foot on your neck, they not holding you back. You can do whatever you want to do. I've said this before. You can go get as many jobs as you want. You can go off grid. You can leave the country. You can move how you want to move. It's going to be up to you. How strong is your will? What's your will to survive? What does survival look like to you? What does it mean? Everything Charleston just said. The way how your dad met your mom had nothing to do with the white man or slavery or whatever. They met on their own circumstances, whether it was on some freak nasty stuff. They met at Freaknik. They met at the club. Wherever they met at and they did their thing, they had you. That was their choice. It comes down to two smart individuals coming together to make the right choice and decision for the future of you and them. But a lot of people don't care. You got a lot of crash outs just crashing out.
What was you exposed to? What did your mama do when she was pregnant for those 9 months? What conditions were her emotional state in? Man, don't tell me about no slavery and white people when that has way more of a bearing on your life than what happened 400 years.
Facts.
Well, because it's easier to blame, it's easier to be a victim than to actually sit there and reflect. Because, I know for a fact when I was born, my grandparents were telling my mom that you need to do an abortion. She shouldn't, like everybody was telling my mom, you don't need to have this kid because you don't have a good relationship with the dad. It did affect me a lot, but, and I always talk about my mom cheating on my dad. But the worst part is accepting the fact that it hurt me.
Yeah.
But I can't blame it on anything else. It's my mom still. I gotta love her regardless of what she's done. It's like, if we're talking about kids, like, yes, they did something, but they're still children. There's still empathy. There's still something that you can forgive them with, instead of sitting here and saying, well, you know what? I hate my grandparents because they didn't want me. I can sit and say about that until I die.
Black children are given excuses from the time they understand life.
Why?
They're given excuses. Because the world wants them to be victims. They don't never want the black man or the black race to stand up erect. They're a different kind of people when they don't have an excuse as victims.
Mm-hmm. I'll say in 2025, they want everybody to be a victim in their own way. The blacks, they want us to be a victim mentality after the effects of, slavery. White people, they want them to be victims as well for the crimes that they have done towards slavery, even the ones who didn't participate, just being white in general. Mexicans and other ethnicity groups off of being an immigrant, so they want to be victims to be immigrants the whole nine. Everybody's playing their own victim card. It just really depends on what category you belong to. But it's going to be up to you on how well you navigate through that, and you don't let that consume you, and you don't become the victim. Because if you become it, it's over. Your mentality is warped. All I can say is try and get out of it. Try your hardest, because nothing is perfect. No group is perfect. No society is perfect. It's pros and cons to everything. You just weigh them out for your life.
And it's easier to control you if you are a victim. Like you said,
poor me.
Yeah.
The poor me. A poor me attitude is the start of depression, the start of violence, everything.
And you start spiraling and you start going.
Yeah. So, man, that's why my mother's words, all things work for the good of those who love the Lord and is called according to his will and purpose. And I said, Mama, all things? And I started throwing questions at her. She said, son, it don't say but. Mom, what about a kid being molested? Mom, I heard one of my friends used to get molested by his uncle. How that work good for him? I used to ask some questions to try to prove that this is bull. Because I couldn't understand it.
We going somewhere.
So I didn't read the Bible. I would hear my mother say she didn't question her about it. I can't understand the Bible. And I heard a preacher say it's the Holy Spirit who writes God's word upon man's heart. So why I need that copywritten book to read it? I can't understand it at 15. I need God. Right now, I'm thinking about killing myself in the same cell my homeboy hung himself in. They won't give me a Bible. How do I get God? In spirit, like Mama said. Just talk to him, son. You think you need the preacher. You can say, can you have the chaplain come talk to me? Chaplain might not come for 2 days.
And the sad part is that it's going to be in their interpretation. So depending on your preacher, your pastor, whoever you trying to fellowship or learn the Bible from, it's going to be from their interpretation. So y'all brains might be thinking completely different, but he's telling you the way how his brain interpret it. Or let's say he has a hidden agenda and he's hiding something. He's teaching you the way that he's trying to teach you so that you can be brainwashed or controlled, whatever form it is. It's sad.
So I asked God as a kid, can you remove the book and the man out of our way so I can have you directly, God? And he did that for me as a little boy. So I don't listen to shit a preacher say. And I ain't read no goddamn Bible. It's been copywritten too many times.
You know what's crazy? When I was a
He
kid,
sound like a kid when he said it. I ain't reading no goddamn Bible. I ain't going to church, all right?
I had exactly the same thought. I questioned my grandma because my grandma is very religious. I questioned her every single time, and she would be like, you need to pray and you need to read, because in Russia you have to read the prayer that's in the book and then you have to recite it. And I'd be like, I don't understand because I don't know what it means. I started going,
I don't need the word of God. I need the spirit of God.
Exactly. Like I need to feel it. And I always felt something. I always knew that, okay, I'm going to get out. Since I was 7 years old, I told my mom, I'm going to leave Russia. My mom was like, well, what money? Where are you going? You know, because we didn't have money. I grew up in a 1-bedroom apartment. We didn't have nothing. And all of a sudden, and I was like, I'm not going to live here. And she's like, you don't even speak another language. Where are you going? You were born where you needed. You don't need to be there. And I said, no, I'm going to leave.
My mother have a
All right, little rebellious Russian woman. You was just being rebellious at that point in time, just being honest. Not saying you can't up and leave, but most people don't leave their environments, which is why you have a lot of black people here that will say they from Africa, but they won't go back. Most people won't, but ma'am, I'm just being honest. I think you got a little bit of a rebellious spirit in you because you could just stay a Russian girl, but you wanted a certain type of lifestyle. You wanted to live a certain way. You got to embrace that. Now, whether it's going to be better for you or not, it's going to be your choice, but you chose to live a different type of lifestyle.
That I wrote home when I was 14 or 15 years old, and I told her, Mom, I'm going to be big and famous when I grow up. People going to be talking about me like they was talking about Jesus.
And they
doing
do.
that today.
And they're doing that today.
I was
Isn't that crazy?
15 years old and I wrote that letter.
But that's what I'm saying.
Today,
But and I always say that I have an issue with parents imposing religion on kids because, they sit there and they read Bible. But my question is, do they actually understand it?
Well, that's why I argue with a lot of podcast people. Could ask me, do you believe in God? You don't believe in God because God is intimate. Most people who talk about God really don't believe. Because I started to say, are you married? Well, no, I'm not married. When I say, man, God, I don't think about God when I'm ready to out of wedlock, when I'm jacking my out watching porn. So don't come talking to me about God.
Right.
God is intimate.
Yeah.
That's what I learned. And so that's why you don't talk. So people who talk God talk, I look at them and say, they full. They hiding behind that.
Well, because God,
show me your God.
Right, because God is like on the paper.
My mama don't talk God, she live it.
Yeah.
I ain't seen mama drunk. I'm saying, man, I know my mama got to get horny. God can't be that powerful. I ain't never seen I've never heard my mother cuss anybody out. I ain't seen her angry. So I got a living testament that's been reading the word, walking with the word. When I hear somebody out here say it, you drink, my mama don't.
Yeah, and a lot of people just follow out of fear. They're liars. They're hypocrites, which is, I feel the same way Charleston White feel. When I hear people talking about, the word of God, the Bible, the whole nine, I really have to watch your lifestyle and see exactly how you move before I really listen and believe what you're saying. Because you got a lot of people that are just hypocrites. They say one thing because it feels good. Oh, I'm Christian, I'm this and that. No, you really not. Because if you were, you would be following the Bible to the scriptures to the T. I'm not mad at somebody who does that. I still don't have to agree or believe. If you believe in the book, cool. But if someone is saying one thing but doing something else behind the scenes, don't even preach it, because it's not going to be a good look for you. You're going to look like a full-blown hypocrite.
My mama was a foster parent. My mama adopted. She focused on the least of those. She does prison ministry. My mama was a foster parent with Lena Pope Home for CPS for over 25 years. She nurtured children, trauma and hurt children and abused children back to life. And it was the light, and they still call mama today. So I got a living testament of a God. So I'm gonna listen to a preacher for. And I've been trying to prove her wrong since a kid. And I ain't been able to prove her wrong with her God.
Yeah. Damn. I think, have you ever heard of a book called Conversations with God? Mm-mm. So it's a very powerful book, because the very ending of the book, it says, God is you, God is within you. And I remember I was arguing with somebody who was studying theology at Stanford, and I literally showed him the last page of the book. The man changed his major the next day to math, because he said, I'm not going to study theology because it doesn't do much to me. God is me, God is within
Theology
me.
and religion takes you off the path of the true God.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, because it gives you a God. It don't give you the relationship and the connection to your God.
It separates you from source. See, why wouldn't it be smart if somebody wanted to control you to separate you from your higher self or your higher being? See, we feel like God is something that's not attainable or we can't reach. Not even trying to count from within what we offer, what we can tap into. Most of us haven't even tapped into our true potential yet, because we so wrapped up into the societal norms or the things that we supposed to do or what people expect of us. So we really never fight through and learn how to overcome fear, learn how to sacrifice, learn how to gain knowledge, consistency, time, attention to detail. Everything matters. Be able to conquer your low self, balance it out with your high self, because everything is still about duality. It's a balance. You got your low and your high self. You got to balance that part out within yourself. Most people, they never find that balance with what works for their lifestyle. And that's one of the biggest regrets I think that a lot of us deal with, is that we go through our whole life, and then some people don't even realize it until it's too late. The earlier you can pick that up, I think, the better.
Which is self.
Yeah.
Everything that you want to know about God is in the spirit of who you are. So you have to find the spirit. But we looking outside in the book. The spirit don't come out of the scripture reading the book. You're gonna have a situation in your life that's gonna activate that God in you.
Yeah.
Your mother
That's
go die. Something gonna happen that's gonna be bad for you to find that good. And that's what prison has been for black people. So that's why I recommend prison for black boys.
Okay, hold up. I don't agree with the prison part, but let's see what he's talking about.
Recommend it.
In the current setting, how it is?
Yeah, I recommend prison. I think you should lock 9-year-old boys up until they grown.
Because of their parents?
Because I've been doing what I call a independent qualitative study on the effects of prison. Prison has more of a positive effect on families and black males than any other institution in American society, including marriage, in public schools, in college. Only thing can top the prison system in producing great black men is the military.
Okay, I was hoping he was going to say something else. Military, yes, I could see that. But when it comes to prison system, the prison system also, it turns you into something else. You know, you almost like an animal in there. Yes, I get what he means by the discipline part. But I think we need to show our young men discipline in a different way from people who are actually walking the walk, who can talk the talk, to actually teach the youth. We need to control the culture, what's being exposed and what's being seen, what things that we actually value. We put that more to the forefront. I think sports can be a good way for discipline. You know, don't get me wrong. I know we know a lot of athletes that end up crashing out in their own day-to-day lives from, I guess, the perks of being an athlete. But at the same time, that creates discipline where you have to constantly train. You have to get better. You have to stay consistent. You have to be active. Military can do the same, but I don't think prison is going to be the best thing, because prison does create animals at the same time.
They're both the same.
Because it has structure, it has
Discipline.
and it also has authority and control.
The black boy don't have it nowhere else. He's coddled in every level of society.
But do you think it only applies to black boys? Does
Yeah.
it apply to any other race?
No other race.
Why?
No other race.
Yeah, I'm curious.
We're the only people that's been done like this, that you can do like this.
But I feel like
No other race. So listen, no other race of people have been directly programmed by white people other than us. No other race. So it's like they have a spell on us.
But I also feel like white people have this idea, like they're groomed in this privilege, right? And so I think that's also affecting society
Show
negatively.
me 1 in 3 that's going to prison. See, we have a number that sits over unborn children's head.
Well, I think the white kids, the ones that born into like crackheads families and heroin addicts and all of that, like those are the ones that...
Even our children born in 2-parent homes go.
Well, here's the thing about it. I get what Russia's getting at. See, even white people, I think, live under the illusion of the whole privilege part. Because I know they see in America the way they see other groups getting more benefits than they are. You know what I'm saying? See, it's almost that illusion that because your skin color the same as who you would think controls the country, that makes me elite now. No. See, that's the catch-22. Because we'll think that a white person has some form of a superiority complex when you got more white. I know plenty of white bums. It don't matter about the skin color, whether you got something or you don't, or you make good decisions or not. That is just a superiority complex to where you cannot insert your feelings and emotions into it and get triggered by it. But see, a lot of white people are blind. Just how he said he feels like black people are the only ones that can be done like that. No, whites have been getting done wrong as well.
Even our children born in well-to-do communities, great mothers, God-fearing mothers, non-criminal, not on drugs, they go too. Because the statistic says 1 in every 3 black males in America will go to prison or be on some form of community supervision in their lifetime.
But you think it's prison not changing the school system? What if the schools were boarding schools like you had? Would that work? No?
How you gonna undo the trauma and the pain that these kids show up at the school with?
Well, if they're living there, if it's a boarding school.
Who go pay for it?
The government, I hope. They're not, I know, but like, let's say we're in...
Then we become Russia again. If the government has to fix...
Hey, but it works.
But it doesn't work. But now you're being controlled.
But prison controls you too.
No, it don't. They getting high in prison.
Well, there are leeways.
Prison just puts you in a place where you can't get out and hurt public safety, but the prisoners run the prison.
Well, and you can do a lot of things in prison. At this point, I'm like... It's,
So the answer and the solution and the antidote to our problem is focusing on prenatal care and mothers. Let's get the babies right when they start forming.
Yeah.
Because by the time the baby get here, the mother have already given and set a temperament for this kid based on her conditions and environment of 9 months. So now when the kids go to school, what resources do we have for elementary children and they're not in trouble? We focus on the kids that's in trouble. It's all the help in the world for kids that's in trouble, not for the kids that's out of trouble.
That's true.
I wouldn't say that. You got a lot of programs out there that you have kids who are advanced classes. You got a lot of classes for kids that are, that outperform other kids. You have other elective activities. You have a lot. There's an abundance of programs. I think you're going to have both perspectives out there. That's why I say that's like a duality thing, because you got a lot for the good people and then you have things for the bad people. I don't think we should just kind of live in the mindset that we only have things for bad kids. That's not true.
Focus on 3rd grade literacy tests.
Yeah.
They do. We don't. We're the only ones having this problem. The Jews, not the Asians, not black children are the only ones having this problem. Yeah, other children are having but it's something specific about ours that don't apply to nobody else's.
I want to leave it right there. I really want to leave it right there. Because I want to recap, because there was a lot going on, but we'll just pick up where the kids were at just now, where he was speaking about black kids. I think first and foremost, it's going to be a cultural issue. The things that we put in our face on a day-to-day basis. I guess what our parents probably listen to, the people around us, what they listen to and watch, that energy. how our parents raise us, the energy that they have, it's gonna boil down from it's gonna be a drop down from the parent to the child on, like how he said, if your parents were a freak, you probably gonna be a freak. But we got one other side that a lot of people don't want to talk about, is that you are your own spirit, you're your own entity as well. I think that's one of them things that we really don't pay attention to, that the way how you come out sometimes, people can't really teach you how to act how you act. If you're somebody who just acts out, or you're somebody who just very well spoken, or you're just very outward, that's just gonna be in you. I can't teach somebody to be confident, especially someone young. If they're young and they just confident, or they just boisterous, or you just a wild child, I can't teach you to do that. They're just going to do it. Now, of course, when you get older, you can be groomed from a child to a teen to an adult, to where you might be more comfortable in certain situations because you've been mature to handle it. So I think at the same time, it's going to take a lot of restructuring, because a lot of these kids probably shouldn't even have been born. A lot of these kids just been born out of trauma and boredom. Trauma and boredom is why we got a lot of these kids, these so-called YNs, kids who don't want to do nothing. It's because people just want to have sex and they have a baby to make themselves feel good, because they feel like it's going to keep somebody there, but it's really not. It's going to be a lot with that. Then I want to piggyback to when he talked about the church, and y'all already know how I feel about that. If y'all see any of the other videos I reacted to, the NLE Chopper situation, there's been a couple others to where when we get into like the church or whatnot and religion, and how I feel like it does somewhat lock your potential. But I still feel like, as a child, I don't think there's nothing wrong with teaching a child religion. I think as black kids, how we were forced to go to the church, I don't think it was still nothing fully wrong with that at the same time, because fear is still good. Fear is necessary. And most people who are in the church, or who were in the church, they're in it because of fear. I mean, the biggest thing is that you don't want to burn the lake of fire. So I think when kids are brought into that, it can help add another layer of protection from themselves because of the fear. Now, as time goes on, and they grow up, and then they start becoming a free thinker, and then they start expounding upon other maybe religions, other forms of spirituality, and they start seeing how the world really plays out, they might get out of it. But I don't think there's nothing wrong with a child being pushed in the culture that they're probably a part of when it comes to like religion and spirituality. And then let's piggyback further on when he mentioned about the blacks feeling like victims, feeling like a slave in 2025. Man, I'm gonna tell y'all, bro. I was in Orlando this past week, and I've been a few places, the Universal Studios, the whole nine or whatnot, with some family. And most people don't even care like your skin color, they don't care. If you carry yourself with a certain amount of class, or you carry yourself, as a just upstanding person, people gonna just treat you cool. They gonna be smooth. It don't matter the color of your skin. I think sometimes we overemphasize, or I think we just romanticize things in certain situations. I really don't even think people always feel like this on a day-to-day, because if things is going smooth, you're not finding a reason to just hate other people based on their skin color if things is going good. It's usually when somebody a little stressed out, they upset, they mad about something, then we start going with slurs. We start bringing out, how you look and stuff like this. But outside of that, man, people is just trying to just live their life accordingly. That's it. And then being black, all that victim mentality stuff, I don't want to hear it no more. I don't, man. There's just so many opportunities that we can do and we can expound upon to make our lives better if we feel like it's not the best that it should be already. There's a lot that we can do. We can get with like-minded individuals, try and create something, create a business, put money together. This country flow off green. If you got that green, if you got that money on, you won't have nothing to worry about. So all that skin color stuff, they don't see that. They only see green. They see green and good ideas. They see innovation. If you can add into that, you good to go. I feel like I've been talking a lot, y'all. That was a long recap because he talked about a lot. So I was forced to talk about a lot. I'll make sure I have this link in entirety. I like listening to Charleston. I don't agree with everything that he says. That whole prison system thing, don't agree with that. I don't feel like blacks just need it, but I get where he's trying to come from. Charleston really does believe, a lot of people believe that black people are a degenerate type of ethnicity group. they thrive on degeneracy. The things that we do, they just feel like we're more susceptible to degeneracy than, I guess being more upstanding. People feel like that. I don't agree with that 100%. Yeah, we might be enticed or we might like and appreciate certain forms of entertainment, but I don't think as a whole black people are just completely degenerates. That could be debatable though. It just depends on the right person who's talking about it. If you look at the continent of Africa, you can't look at the archetype of people, the brown diaspora. I still feel like we're brown as well, but we can say black, white, the Asiatic. We can see how all of them move in their own way, and then we can do comparisons and whatnot. But I'll let y'all expound upon that. If y'all here, comment about that as well, because I'm curious to hear y'all perspectives on it, because everybody's very different in the comment section. You have some that agree, a lot that disagree. But I'll make sure I have this link in the description so y'all watching in its entirety. Make sure y'all like this video, comment below. This is your guy, JayBReacts, and until next time, y'all, peace.